Hey yo, Spectre here. Today I'm going to show you how to create a Y2K wireframe globe in Blender. First things first, open up Blender. Then remove everything from the scene. Then do Shift A and then go over to UV Sphere. Then right click, Shade Smooth, pan over. With your keyboard, lift it up with the letter G and Z and increase it up. Then go over to your modifier tab and then add modifier. Go down to wireframe. Now you can see that it has that Y2K look. And if you go over here to material preview, you can see it's white. So let's turn that into silver or chrome. Pan over to your materials and then hit new. And then here on the base color, increase it up. Then let's go down and let's make this metallic, so bring it all the way up to 1. Then on the roughness, bring it down to 0. And now it's fully chrome. Now if we actually give this a tilt, we can do like a -30. And then if you see here on the rotation Z axis, if we give it a spin like a regular 360, it does this wobble. And to prevent this from happening, what we gotta do is do Shift A and then go over to empty, and then right here where it says cube, then with your letters G and Z, lift it up. Now select the wireframe, go over to your object constraint properties, do add object constraint, then do copy rotation. Then here on target, select it and then select empty. And then here on the axis, make sure that only Z is selected. And then down here where it says owner, switch it over to local space. Now, if you select your cube and then go over to your object properties, and then if you switch here the rotation Z, the rotation does not wobble anymore. Now, if you go over here, lift up your timeline, and then let's make our animation 500 frames, and then make sure you're on the first frame here, and on the rotation Z, insert a keyframe, and then go to 500. Insert 360 and then enter the keyframe. So now if you hit the spacebar, you can see now that it's following the path. Now select the globe and we can make this a little bit bigger. Now we're gonna add some stars, and on previous Y2K videos I've shown you how to make them, and now I'm gonna show you how to actually just add them on. So now just do Shift A and then go over to mesh. And then here on extras, you can select simple star. Then you can rotate it to 90 degrees. And then do G and Z and lift it up. And if you don't have that already enabled, go over to edit and then go to preferences and then go to add-ons. And then just search for extra. And then here, you're gonna see add mesh, extra objects. And then there's also extra curve objects if you want to get those as well. And then make sure that they're selected. And then if you go over to Shift A, mesh, and you should see them at the bottom. And then simple star. Then zoom in. And then here we can just tilt it. And then make sure when you select it, right click and then set origin to center of mass volume. And then now we're gonna do a duplicate, so you can do Control C and Control V. And then on the second star, if you decrease the Z axis, and let's get a closer look here, and we can go back over to our solid view. We're gonna make an outline, and then we can scale it up by hitting S. And we can create this cool outline effect, and we can make it a little bit bigger. Select S and then just make it thicker. And now we're gonna do another one. So select the outline, do Control C and then Control V, and then do the same, but make sure you're selected on the copy. Decrease it a little bit and then scale it bigger. Now we're gonna want to have 4 stars. So select all 3 and then do Control C and then Control V. And then if you pan over to your left, select the move tool That way it can be a little bit easier for you. And then now let's do another copy of it. Control C, Control V. Now you can bring it down. And then if we do Control C one more time, Control V. And now let's make this one here smaller. If you hit S, select all. Then select this other one here. And then you can have one back and then one in the front. And these are going to be floating around and gravitating. And let's make this small here. Select all of them, then hit S. And then this one can be forward. So it can be like a opposite effect. So here it's in the front and the other one's in the back, and then this one's in the front, and then we can select this, set, and then move it to the back. Now let's set up a camera. Do Shift A and then go down to camera. And you can just bring this over here. And you can hit 0 on your number pad. And while we're at it, I'm gonna select output properties, and I'm gonna switch the resolution to 1080 by 1920. And the reason why I want this is because I want to use this for social media. And let's make this a little smaller. Now let's scale up the globe a little bit bigger. Now do Shift A and then go over to curve and then circle. And let's bring it up. And we can create like a halo effect for it. Now let's add some color to this. So I will be using 3 colors. It's gonna be blue, white, and black, and as well as chrome for the globe, but that's gonna be its own thing. So you can select one of the inside stars or whichever, and then go over to your material properties, select new, and on the base color, this one I can leave it as white, and then the roughness I'll bring it down. Then if I select this outline, hit new, and on base color I can do blue and then bring it up here, and then this one I'll bring the roughness down. Then select the outline on the back, new, and then this one I'll make it black, and this one I will make it metallic, so bring it up, and then on roughness bring it down. Now we use these colors on all the other ones. You can make a pattern where you can maybe select a different color in the middle of the star. I can maybe do black here, and then select the other outline, make it white, and then this other one I can do blue. Then down here I can do blue, and then the middle can be black, and then the outline here could be white. And then here I can do blue, the middle one could be white, and then the outline could be black. Now after selecting your colors, what you can do is start selecting all 3 layers and make sure you select Shift and holding them at the same time, and then do Control and the letter J, and then actually shapes them together as one, and then do the same to all of the other stars. And then now select one of your stars and then Shift select the top circle, and then right click, then go down to parent and then select follow path. Now we hit the space bar, you can see that it's following the path, doing a 360, but it's going a little bit too fast. So if you go over here on the object data properties, over here where it says path animation, select down the drop down, and then you can also here insert 400, and this actually slows down the path animation of the stars when they're going to be rotating around. And then you can do the same thing to all of the other 3 stars. So select the star, then Shift select the Bezier circle, and then right click, parent, and then follow path. And also you don't have to worry about adding the frame change over here because the Bezier circle itself is going to reflect on all the stars. Now if you hit play, you can see now that the stars are animating. Now one last thing with the stars, we want to give them a spin along with the rotation. Then go over to your object properties, select your star here, and make sure you're in the first frame. And then on your object data properties here, enter the keyframe on 0, then go over to your last frame. And you're gonna want to do 1080, and then enter the keyframe. Then here you can right click and then set interpolation mode, Bezier. And now do this on the other stars, but we're gonna do a twist to it. So we're gonna do a pattern here under rotation Z, enter the keyframe, then go to 500, and then here do minus 1080. That way it does the opposite spin. And then right click, interpolation mode, and then hit Bezier. Then select this opposite one here. Here, enter the keyframe, go to the last one. This one's gonna be 1080. And then right click, interpolation, Bezier. Then select the other one. This one's gonna be the 0 keyframe, 500. And then here do minus 1080. Right click and then do Bezier. So now we hit the spacebar. You can see now that they're in full effect. Now here, start making sure that your camera is aligned properly. And then also make sure your stars are not coming out of the frame. Now just pause your animation and then do Shift A and then go over to curve and then select circle again. And then here, scale it out, hit S, and make sure you're creating a ring, and then bring it up into the middle here. So it's kind of like Saturn in a way. And then do Shift A, and then go over to text, and then here do tab, and then erase, and then input whatever you want. And then for this demonstration, I am just gonna use the word digital. Then hit tab again. And then here on the rotation, you can do 90 degrees. And then if you go over to your object data properties, go to font, and then hit open font. And also, I'm going to leave the link in the description for this font. It's going to be called Planet Kosmos. Double click it, and then now you should see this. And then go over to your modifiers, select add modifier, and then here on deform, go to curve. And then on the curve object, select the Bezier circle. This is going to be the second one. Then here, go to your object properties, and you can increase the text. And you're going to notice that it's actually like inside out. So here on the rotation Z, you can do minus 180. Then here on location X, you can mess around with the rotation. So if you go over here back to your camera, if you hit 0 on your number pad, and then just mess around with the dial here. And then just start aligning it. And you can also make the text bigger, so hit S. And just make sure to continue to fix the rotation. Then select your text, and then go over to your object data properties, go to geometry, and I'm gonna give it a 0.15, and then select the text, and then do Control C, Control V. And here, I'm gonna just rename the text so that way I'm not confused. I'll just do digital 1, and I'll here do digital 2. And then make a third copy, Control C, Control V. And then you can also erase the Bezier 0.002 and then the 0.003. Right click and then just do delete. Then you might notice that the text actually goes in the middle here. So just select your second and third. Then go over to your modifier tab. And then here where it says curve object, do Bezier the first one, and then do the same thing for the other one. It should bring them back to place. And remember, this one here is the halo, and then this one here is the ring for the globe. And you might want to rename these two. I'll just do Earth ring. Now select digital 1, and let's change the extrude to a 0.2 now. And now here, let's go to digital 2, and let's increase the bevel depth over here. So you can start clicking on it. And then now we can actually go over to solid view to kind of see and have a better look at what's happening. And we want to give an outline similar to the stars. Now let's go over to digital 3, and let's do the same thing. Let's change the depth over to a little higher. And we can decrease the extrude on this one and continue increasing the depth. And you may have to decrease the extrude again. And it should look something like this. And you might see that there's some like glitching here happening on the first text on the fill. And we're gonna fix that in a bit. Let's select digital 1, which is the fill. And then go over to your modifier tab, add a modifier, and then do edge split here. Now let's add another modifier. Go over to add modifier. Then here on generate, go down and then do remesh. And then here, go over to sharp. And then select here, remove disconnected. And then here on the octave depth, do 10. Now we're gonna wanna actually slide this up all the way up above the curve. Then go over to your object data properties. And then here on the shape resolution preview U, you can do 40. And the same thing here on the render U. Now if you select here on the ring here, on the earth ring that we called it, you're gonna still see some of the artifacts on the text. So here on the resolution preview U, on the Bezier circle, which is the earth ring, you can do 400. And the same thing here. And then now you can see that it looks flawless now. And it's okay if you don't do the back ones, because you can't really see anything of like how messed up it is, because the fill is the actual face. Now let's check out our material preview. And let's start adding some color to the text here. So we can go on digital 1. I'm gonna do a blue on the digital 1. And we're gonna use the same colors here as the stars. So that if you go over to digital 2 and then go over, and I'm gonna do a white material. And then here on the third one, it's gonna be black. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna select digital 3 and then shift select to digital 1, which is gonna be the fill. Then do Control P, and then here select object. And let's do the same with the second text, and then shift select to the first one and do the same, Control P, and then select object. So now this is gonna be the parent, which is the blue one. And we're gonna start creating a rotation around it. And if you hit 0 on your number pad, and you can have a better look. Now let's go to the first frame. Now let's go over to object properties. Make sure you're selected on the first frame, and you can input the frames here manually. That's because if you try to slide through, it might be a little bit sluggish now with everything being added to the animation. And then over here on location X, insert a keyframe. Then let's search for 500. And then here we're gonna wanna do 2 rotations around the globe. So we can start dragging to the right and do enough for 2 spins. Then here, when you're ready, you can just select the keyframe. Now you're gonna wanna match your keyframes together. So if you go back to the first frame, And here they're very similar, so I don't have to, readjust the rotation. And that way it can kind of create a loop whenever you're uploading to social media. And then do some final touches. I want to make sure that the location Z, it's a little bit lower. And I think that's in the middle here. Now, one of the final things that we're going to do is we're going to add some lights. Then do Shift A, go to light, and then select area. And you can start aligning it. Here on your object properties, on the rotation, you can set 90 degrees. And then you can give a tilt on the rotation Z axis. And then hit S to scale. And then you can go over here to your rendered preview settings. And then if you go over here to your object data properties, and then set the power to 50. Then do Shift A, and then do light, and then add another area. And you can lift this one up. And you can scale it bigger. And then here on the power, you can do 3000. And that should pretty much light up your entire scene. Then hit 0 on your number pad. Then if you go over to render settings, render image, everything looks pretty well. Then go over to your shading tab, then select object, and then select world. Then do Shift A, and then go to search, and then do environment texture. Then select color to color, and then hit open. And I'm going to leave a link in the description to this holographic image that we're going to use as an HDRI. Then go to wherever you have it saved. Then select it, and then hit open image. Then you can go over here to layout. Now we can go over to our render properties. And then here on render engine, select cycles. Then on device, you can do GPU compute if you have a graphics card. Then here on the max samples, you can do 300. And then on render, here on the noise threshold, you can do a 0.5. And then max samples here, you can do 300. Then you can also select denoise here. Then go over to your output properties. Since we already have our resolution, we can leave that alone. And then here on frame rate, we can select 60. And if you want faster render times, you can actually leave this at 30. But I'm going to leave it at 60. Because I do like my videos to be a little bit smooth. Then here on output, select this folder icon. This is the default folder where I have all of my saves. You can do right click and then new folder. Digital Y2K wireframe. Then select it and then hit accept. And then here on the file format, we're going to do FFmpeg video, and then go to encoding, and then here in container do mpeg 4, and on your output quality you can do high quality. Then we can go back to our render properties, and if you scroll down, go to film, and then select transparent, and that way we only have the actual animation and the 3D artwork. Then if you go over here to your render, and then select render image, just let it render out, and you can see what you're going to expect from the render. Then you can start doing some last minute touches. If you see something that you want to edit, such as one of the stars, you want to make it maybe a little bit more lower. This can be a little bit more higher. You can start doing them now. Even the scale, maybe you want something a little bit smaller. Then when you're ready, just do Control and then F12, and it should start rendering. And also make sure to save your file. Do Control and S, and just name your file whatever you want. And then just hit save Blender file. And there you have it, guys. That is how to create a Y2K wireframe globe theme in Blender. And if this has helped you out in any way, shape, or form, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Also, if you want to look at some of my other Y2K tutorials, please check the links below. Also, you can check the cards up here. Also, you can check out my Discord server. If you need any additional help, you can hop on the server and me or one of the members can help you out throughout the process. And also, you guys can leave some suggestions on how to create any Y2K theme or anything in particular. This was actually a suggestion from Daniel Saint Music. He was the one that suggested to do this tutorial on the Wireframe Y2K globe. And as always, thanks for watching.